Welcome back. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Now, striking doctors in the public health facilities have threatened to quit if negotiations with the government fails to yield results. The Ghana Medical Association has confirmed that the doctors will either call off the strike or resign come Friday, August the 14th.
It's been a couple of days since well over 2,000 doctors in Ghana's public health system withdrew emergency services and have only been attending to inpatients. Those who have borne most of the brunt in this situation are the poor and underprivileged who depend solely on public health care. Accra resident Opoti was hoping to see her obstetrician this week but was unable to do so. The strike, which was started on Friday, August the 7th, began as part of demands for improved allowances and other non-salary benefits.
It looks a little absurd because the very labor laws we work with in this country mandates that employees, especially professionals like us, should have these arrangements in place. We have done our utmost best to ensure that this is done. It hasn't happened, and we've gotten to a point where we are saying enough is enough.
The government says it remains determined to strictly follow the austerity measures outlined in the budget and will not approve release of money for higher salaries.
Any agreements that are reached in respect of allowances or conditions of services would have to be appropriately captured in the budget. And I want to say for emphasis that I will not authorize any expenditure on wages and compensation not provided for in the budget. Fiscal discipline requires that not a single pesewa is spent on remuneration outside what has been budgeted for.
Ghana spends 50 to 55% of its tax revenues on public sector wages and compensation, down from 70% 3 years ago. And analysts say any rise in the wage bill could derail medium-term macro targets. Others, like Labour analyst Kofi Davor, are also critical of the strike.
The face of the law, it is illegal. I mean, when you are negotiating or talking to somebody and you embark on a strike with a view to pressurizing the person to meet your demands, it's just like putting a gun at the person's head and telling him to accede to your demands. It is never done in any negotiations. Everybody must have that atmosphere that enables him to talk faithfully and truthfully to the other party.
Apart from the doctors, university teachers have also announced withdrawal of services over delays in the payment of their book and research allowances. Other public sector workers, including psychiatric nurses, have also threatened to strike.
Well, we're joined from Accra by Joy TV's Elton Brobby. Elton, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Grateful, thank you.
A couple of days ago, you gave us, some news that we're looking forward to. We expected to hear that the strike would be over. What's happened? What's the latest now?
Well, that indeed was a meeting held by the Executive Committee of the Ghana Medical Association. Now, the outcome of that meeting was to the effect that because the decision to embark on a strike was taken by the General Assembly, which is the highest decision-making body of the GMA. That assembly will hold another meeting on Friday, that's tomorrow, to now decide on what to do next. Because according to the roadmap that they announced when they embarked on the strike action, tomorrow, Friday, they will enter the final phase. And the final phase will be to discharge all those who are on admission at the hospitals, and then going forward, members of the Ghana Medical Association will resign from the Ghana Health Service because they don't have conditions of service to work with. So tomorrow, the General Assembly will meet and they will consider all the options available to it and then take a decision. The decision will be to either call off the strike or to follow through their roadmap and then resign from the Ghana Health Service. So this is the stage that we are in now. But looking at the amount of persuasions that have come in from religious leaders, traditional authorities, members of the other political parties, it is looking as though the GMA may go back to work and allow for negotiation to continue.
Well, we know that the government, agreed to some of the demands which were made by the doctors, but not all of them. What exactly are the doctors not content with?
Well, for now, it is very difficult to even pinpoint what really is contained in the documents before government and the doctors. That has been a subject of negotiation all this while, because media reports that have come up have always been denied by either the government or the Ghana Medical Association. But what we know is that even though government has accepted some of the conditions presented by the Ghana Medical Association and also rejected some, on Wednesday even I spoke to the Employment Minister, Haruna Idris, who told me that the only issue that has stalled negotiations so far has got to do with Article 4 containing the negotiation, which deals with remuneration and other conditions, that is fuel allowance, accommodation allowance, that is contained in Chapter 4, and they have issues with it. They think that the doctors should reduce the demands contained in the Chapter 4 provision, and the doctors are insisting that that is basically the foundation upon which they are arguing their case out relating to this issue of conditions of service. So that has stalled negotiations so far. We do not know when they will go back to the negotiation table, even though I'm told that last night the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health met with the leadership of the Ghana Medical Association and the government negotiation team to try and broker a deal, but nothing concrete can be reported on that particular meeting. So going into tomorrow meeting by the General Assembly or GMA, it is really unclear what the decision will be after the meeting tomorrow, because for now there is no concrete evidence on the ground that suggests that there's been a breakthrough regarding the negotiation between government and the Ghana Medical Association.
Well, Elton, thank you so much for the updates. Hopefully we'll reach out to you tomorrow for the latest and things will be resolved. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Joy TV's Elton Brobby reporting from Accra. Well, to other matters, the United States has sent its condolences to the family of Tomislav Salopek, and he's the Croatian who was killed yesterday by an Egyptian offshoot of the Islamic State. The militant group published a photograph which it says showed the beheaded body of the late hostage. There is no question of who's responsible, as in the last hour, Islamic State has confirmed that its Egypt offshoot did in fact carry out that killing.
We've obviously seen Prime Minister Milanovic's statement about the reported murder of a Croatian citizen, Tomislav Salopek, by ISIL terrorists in Egypt. We understand the government of Croatia is still working to confirm this brutal act. Our thoughts obviously are with Mr. Salopek's wife and children, his family, and the Croatian people at this very difficult time. We obviously condemn in the strongest possible terms the horrific violence and brutality that ISIL continues to carry out across the region. The United States stands shoulder to shoulder with Croatia, with Egypt, and all of our friends and partners in the fight against terrorism.
Now, a presidential decree has announced that Guinea-Bissau's president has dissolved the government because of a growing rift with the prime minister. Now, tensions fed by the overlapping duties in Guinea-Bissau's semi-presidential system have grown between the president and Domingos Simões Pereira since civilian rule was restored to the unstable West African nation last year following a 2012 coup. The former colonial ruler warned earlier this week that the row risks sparking a serious political crisis that could endanger the much-needed development assistance. Donors pledged more than €1 billion in March to support the country after last June's elections. Since 1980, Guinea-Bissau has undergone 9 coups or attempted coups. Now, a South Sudan rebel general has split with former Vice President Riek Machar and rejected his plans to join President Salva Kiir in a transitional government, raising prospects of fresh conflict in the country. Fighting broke out in the world's youngest country in December 2013 between forces loyal to President Kiir, and rebels allied with his former deputy Masse reopening ethnic fault lines that pit Kiir's Dinka people against Masse's newer forces. President Kiir and Riek Machar have signed several ceasefire deals, only to violate them within days. The factions resumed talks last week under growing international pressure and the threat of further sanctions if an August 17th deadline is not met. Well, you can reach out to us for your feedback either via email or Twitter. The address and handle are right there on your screen. Thank you so much for watching Network Africa right here on Channels Television with me, Cynthia Are. We'll see you tomorrow.